This is Fitness Blender's Total Body Strength Training with Bodyweight Cardio. In this workout, we're going to be going through 9 different exercises, and we're going to be doing 2 sets of 10 repetitions per exercise. In between those 2 sets, we're going to be doing a 30-second cardio interval to try to keep that heart rate up nice and high. Now, we haven't included a warm-up or a cool-down, so you want to add both of those in on your own. And you'll also need a little bit of equipment for this routine. So you're going to need a set of dumbbells as well as preferably a bench, but you can also substitute that out for a chair. So go ahead and pause it here and get your warm-up in. Otherwise, if you've already done your warm-up, let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise. We're going to begin this routine with a row plus a lunge drop. Now we're going to be doing this one side at a time. So one set's going to be the left side, one set's going to be the right side. You're going to be dropping down into kind of a forward lunge. Do a bent over row motion, and then you're going to drop down into that full lunge. You actually bend that knee, drop it down to the ground, barely touch it, and then right back up again to start that row. Now you want to try to make sure that these motions stay separate. So as you're doing that row motion, you want to keep that knee locked out. And we're doing that lunge motion, dropping that knee down. You want to keep that arm extended out straight, just kind of hanging relaxed. So make sure you're doing a nice even motion, making sure each one of those are completely separate. You don't want to do them simultaneously, so finish your lunge or your row before you start the other motion. And this is your last one right here. Last part of the lunge. And set that dumbbell up. We're going to be moving on to that cardio portion. We're 30 seconds. We're doing just regular jumping jacks. Get them going. Keep that arm and leg really nice and rigid. We're trying to get that heart rate up as high as you can, so really push yourself on this one. Make sure those arms and legs are moving as quickly as you can, as long as they're under control, making sure that you're not flailing those arms and legs around at all. You want to make sure that you're contracting that bicep and tricep, keeping that arm nice and straight, and contracting all those muscles, those thighs and those hips to keep those legs under control. Just a few seconds left. And go ahead and let it relax. We're going to switch back to your row with a lunge drop, this time with the opposite side. So that dumbbell in your opposite hand. Kelly's with her right hand this time. Nice slow row motion. And then drop that knee, come back up, and then row again. Remember, completely separate motions. You want that row motion separated from that knee drop. Make sure you keep that back perfectly flat the entire time. Keep those lungs open. Just keep that motion going over and over again, keeping it under control. Now I just have a couple more repetitions to go. Drop that knee, one more row, one more knee drop, and let it relax. Go ahead and drop that dumbbell up. We're going to go ahead and get ready for our next exercise, which is going to be a ski squat plus a curl plus an overhead press. There's a lot of motions going on. Again, keep them all separate. So squat first, then curl those dumbbells up, then press them over top of your head, slowly back down, curl them down, then back into that squat. Just keep that motion going. You want to make sure, again, that you're keeping each one of these motions separate, so don't start the curl until you come all the way up from that squat. Don't start that overhead press until you've completely finished that curl motion. So make sure that you keep everything under control. Nice, slow, controlled motions. Don't swing those weights around. Really focus on each portion of this exercise. So as you squat, make sure that back stays perfectly flat. You're evenly dispersing that weight between the ball of your foot and the heel of your foot, making sure that knee's not going too far over those toes. And you want to make sure that as you do that curl, those elbows stay back by your sides. You're not letting that elbow kick forward. Now, once you get that fist all the way up nice and tight to that shoulder without letting those elbows kick forward, go ahead and let them slightly scoot forward as you start into that shoulder press, keeping those elbows and hands relatively close in front of your body. You don't want them kicking out really wide for this one. This is a little bit different shoulder press. And then nice and slow, press it straight up without letting that lower back round, without tilting that chest up towards the ceiling. You want to keep it straight forward, keeping those abdominal muscles contracted the entire time. Slowly let it back down. Tuck those elbows back to your sides. Slowly drop from that curl before you drop back into that squat. And this is our last one right here. Go ahead and let it completely relax. Drop those dumbbells off. We're jumping into a Switchfoot hop next. So nice and quick, just kick those feet back and forth in a kind of a scissor kick motion. Just make sure you're keeping those feet moving really nice and quick, barely letting those toes touch the ground before you're kicking them back in the opposite direction. Got about 20 seconds left of this. And we're almost done. 5 seconds left. Keep those feet moving nice and quick. and let it relax. Good job. Let's go ahead and grab those dumbbells again. Again, a ski squat with a curl and an overhead press is our second round of this. Feet together nice and close. Squat down nice and low. Up to a full extension. Curl up to that shoulder. Bring that elbow forward. Press above that head. Slowly back down for that curl. Then back down to that squat. Again, just keep repeating that motion. Make sure each one of those motions is completely separate. Don't start one until you finish the last. Now you've been doing this for a little while, make sure you go back through and mentally do a checklist to make sure that all those muscles are doing what they're supposed to. I know you're probably starting to get tired by this point, so really check that form. Make sure nothing's sliding. Make sure every single motion is nice and solid. You're not letting those elbows kick too far forward when you're doing that curl. You're not leaning too far back or too far forward with that squat. You're not letting that chest tilt when you're doing that shoulder press. Just keep checking it. We've got just a few more to go. All right, this is our second to last repetition right here. Nice squat, curl it up, shoulder press, nice and slow back down, drop back down from that curl, and start into that last repetition, squat down, nice slow curl, shoulder press, and slowly back down, and let it relax. All right, go ahead and drop it. We're going to be moving on to our next exercise, which is going to be a calf raise plus a lateral raise. So again, 10 repetitions. This one, those arms are coming straight out to the sides at the same time as doing a calf raise. So every single time those arms come up and out to the side, you're going to push up onto the ball of that foot as high as you possibly can, get a nice tight squeeze on that calf. Focus on trying to get those arms up and out to the side, nice, even, level across with the ground. If you have the strength and the range of motion in that shoulder, then try to get that hand just a little above shoulder height, but it's all about what that shoulder can do. So if it's uncomfortable to go that high, that's perfectly fine. Just stop at shoulder height. Just make sure that you're controlled, nice, slow, fluid motion as you come up. Whatever you do, don't let those arms swing. Got one more. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, we're going to do our hop overs for our cardio. And start them up. Nice quick motion, acting like you're hopping back and forth across a line or a log or whatever you want to imagine. Just make sure you're getting those feet up really nice and high, kind of pulling those knees up, jumping left to right about 1 foot to 2 feet in width. Just remember this cardio is intended to really push that heart rate back up or keep it up nice and high. So make sure that you're really pushing it through on this, moving as quickly as you can, barely letting those feet touch before you're jumping back the opposite direction. Almost done. And let it relax. Good job. Let's go ahead and do that second round of the calf raise plus a lateral raise. Remember again, push up onto those toes nice and high as you raise those arms up and out to the side. Keep those arms moving nice and slow and under control. Never swing them up, never jerk them up. It's just a nice, slow, controlled raise. Make sure that you're using a weight accordingly that's going to allow you to get a nice full range of motion without feeling like you have to swing those arms. And we're almost done. Just 2 more repetitions. And your last one right here. And let it relax. All right, go ahead and drop those dumbbells. We're moving on to our next exercise, which is going to be a 3-way step up. So this one's actually take a little while to get through. You're actually doing a lot of separate motions that only count as 1 repetition. So step up onto that bench or chair, step off to one side, then the other side, and then step back to that original position. And then start again, this time with the opposite foot that you did last time, and start to the opposite side you did last time. So you're just basically doing the same exact motion, just leading to a different side. And then you do the same thing again, just revert back to that original. Just keep alternating back and forth every single time to try to make sure you're getting a nice even stance on both legs. So both legs have to do the same type of position, stepping up onto that bench and stepping back down and left to right. So make sure you're keeping those dumbbells just kind of secure, just hanging underneath those arms, just kind of wherever's comfortable. Make sure you're moving slowly and under control because you're going up to a relatively high elevation, stepping up into the seat of a chair. This can be a little bit dangerous, so make sure that you're really, really deliberately stepping and waiting until you have your balance before you move on to the next position. Anytime you're using weight with a stepping motion like this, where you're stepping onto something, it's going to throw off your center of gravity, so it's going to make it feel a lot different than you would if you just didn't have any weight at all. So really, really take your time to do this. Don't worry about trying to keep up with Kelly. If you can move faster than Kelly, great. If you can't move as fast as Kelly, don't worry about it. Just get as many as you can done in the time given. And we're almost done. Just one more repetition to go. Back off to the other side, step back up one more time, and then back to that original position, and you are done. Go ahead and drop those dumbbells. We're going to do a bench tap for our cardio. So you're just going to be kicking either the edge of that bench or the seat of that chair, just moving really nice and quick. Barely let those feet touch the ground before you pull them right back up, barely tapping that seat, and then right back down again. Just move as fast as you can. Remember, you're trying to keep that heart rate up really nice and high for this cardio portion. We're just about halfway through, so keep it going. And just a few more seconds to go. And let it relax. Good job. Grab those dumbbells again. We're going to do our second round of that 3-way step up. So whenever you're ready, go and start it up. Now remember, every single time you do a repetition, you want to be leading with a different leg and going off to a different side than you did the time before. So just keep reminding yourself that every single time you want to be doing that progression differently. We are almost done. We just have 2 more repetitions to go. Keep it nice and slow under control. Make sure you're keeping that balance. Nice full range of motion. And there's your last one right here. Go and step up, off to one side, step back up, off to the other, back up one more time, and back to that original position, and you're done. Go ahead and set those dumbbells up. Grab weight for your next exercise, which is going to be a bridge plus a chest fly. So you're going to bring those hips up nice and high into that bridge position, doing that chest fly in kind of like a decline position. So bring those arms straight out to the sides, a little bit of a bend in that elbow, then right back over top of that chest. Nice, slow, fluid motion. Just keep those hips up nice and high. Keep those lungs open. Make sure that elbow doesn't bend too much. You want to have just a tiny bit of a bend in there. So if you feel like you have to bend those elbows too much to get this motion done, then you're probably using a little bit too much weight. So you need to use a little bit lighter. Focus on getting a nice full extension of that arm. The idea is the further you extend those arms out, the harder that chest has to work because of the leverage difference. So it's all going to be just about how much you can control with that chest without letting that arm have to bend. That is our last repetition right here. Make sure it's nice and clean and let it relax. Go ahead and set those dumbbells off for our cardio in this one. We're going to be doing bicycle crunches. So legs out nice and extended, one tucked in. Making a nice big circle with those feet, crunching back and forth, left elbow to right knee, right elbow to left knee. Just alternating back and forth, trying to get those shoulder blades up off the ground as high as you can. Get a nice big circular motion with those feet. Just about halfway through this one. Have just a few seconds left. Keep those feet moving. And let it relax. Good job. Grab those dumbbells again. We're going to go right back into that bridge with a chest fly. So get those hips up nice and high. Grab those dumbbells and get them up over top of that chest. Remember, just a slight bend in that elbow. Drop those arms out to the side as wide as you can, then right back up again, stopping right above that shoulder joint. So again, keep focusing on keeping those hips up nice and high, keeping that elbows just slightly bent the entire time, trying to let it bend too much. Just 2 more repetitions to go. Keep those hips up there nice and high. Slowly out. Right back over top of that shoulder joint. One more time. Slowly out again. Back up. And let it relax. Good job. Let those hips drop. Drop those dumbbells. Let's get ready for our next exercise, which is going to be a squat plus a row and a tricep extension. So grab those dumbbells again. We're going to start by dropping down into a static squat. Drop down and hold. You're actually going to tilt that chest pretty far forward for this one. Do a nice row motion and then extend those arms back for that tricep extension. So squat down, row up, freeze those arms, that upper arm to about a parallel to the ground, and then extend those hands out back behind you for that tricep extension. Slowly let those hands drop back down before you drop that upper arm, then to a full extension of that upper arm, and then back up from that squat. Just keep that motion going. Again, very, very separate motions. You've got 3 motions going on here. You've got that squat first, then you've got your row, bring that upper arm up, and then you've got your tricep extension back, dropping from that tricep extension, dropping from that row, and then coming back up from that squat. Just a few more repetitions to go. Keep them nice and clean. Remember, you want to make sure you get a nice full range of motion on this, so if you're feeling like you can't keep those arms up there high enough for that row or that extension, you need to be using a little bit less weight. And we're almost done. Just 2 more repetitions to go. Squat down, row, tricep extension, kick back, drop back down, and stand up. 1 last repetition. Squat down, row, tricep extension, drop those arms back down, and stand back up. And that is it. Good job. Going to drop those dumbbells off. We're going to be doing a runner next, 15 seconds per leg. So standing on one leg, the other one's driving back and forth, really nice and quick. You want to be doing like about a quarter squat or half squat on the leg you're standing on. That other knee, you're just driving that knee as quickly as you can, as high as you can up underneath that chest. And switch sides, same exact thing on the opposite side. Quarter squat on the leg you're standing on, driving that opposite knee as fast as you can. Almost done, just a few seconds left to go. Keep pushing it. 2, 1, and let it relax. Grab those dumbbells again. We got another round of that squat, row, and tricep extension. And start up. Go and squat down nice and low. Row those dumbbells up. Extend those hands back behind you. Drop those hands. Drop those dumbbells. Then right back up from that squat. Just start right back into it again. Make sure you're keeping that back perfectly flat the entire time you're doing that squat, holding that squat position, making sure you're getting a really nice full range of motion on those arms. Keep that upper arm parallel to the ground as soon as you've done that row until you finish that tricep extension. Just keep that motion going again. Keep those lungs open. Keep every single one of those motions completely separate from one another. And we're almost done. Just 2 more repetitions to go. Just keep that back nice and flat. Nice full extension of those arms. Got 1 left. Squat down. Row those arms up. Extend them back. Drop those hands. Drop those dumbbells. Stand back up. And you're done. Go ahead and drop those dumbbells off. And we're going to be moving on to our next exercise, which is a deadlift fly and a leg lift. So start with that flat back, dropping over for that deadlift. Those arms come up out to the side for a fly. Lift 1 leg, squeezing it back up behind you. Come up from that deadlift, and then do it again. Drop down, that fly. Then that opposite leg comes up. Nice tight squeeze, and then right back up from that deadlift. Now make sure every single time you drop down and you lift that leg that you don't let that lower back round. You want to make sure that back stays perfectly flat to protect your back while you're doing this motion. Also, make sure you're constantly alternating which foot you bring back. You want to, every single time, switch legs. Now, every single time you lift that leg up, it's going to put you in a really, really vulnerable position as far as balance goes. So make sure you're moving really slowly when you lift that leg up. If you try to do a real quick kicking motion, you're definitely going to lose your balance, or at least it's going to be much, much more difficult to actually keep your balance. So make sure you just slowly bring that leg up back behind you, get to a full extension, and then slowly let it drop back down. Try not to move too quickly. We're almost done, just 2 more repetitions, 1 more on each leg. Nice slow controlled motion, lifting that leg up back behind you. Got 1 more on the other side. Deadlift, reverse fly, lift that leg nice and slow. And let it relax, good job. We're gonna be doing butt kickers next. Drop those dumbbells off and start up. Nice quick motion. Bring that heel up towards your butt as close as is comfortable. Basically just trying to move as fast as you possibly can. Again, trying to get that heart rate up nice and high. Keep it up as much as you can throughout this routine. That's halfway right there. Just keep it going. Just a few more seconds to go. Keep those feet moving. And let it relax. All right, let's go move on to that second round of the deadlift with a leg lift. Nice flat back. Drop straight forward. Get that chest parallel to the ground. Do that fly motion. Arms up and out to the side. Then 1 leg up. Nice flat back still. Drop that leg. Stand back up. Then same thing again. Just lift that opposite leg. Just keep those lungs open. Keep that motion nice and slow under control. Remember, whatever you do, the main thing you want to focus on is keeping that back perfectly flat the entire time. Never let that lower back round. On top of that, make sure you're moving slowly. With that fly, don't jerk those arms up. Don't swing them up. It's a nice, slow, controlled raise. Same thing with that leg. Don't swing that leg back behind you. You want to keep it a nice, slow, controlled motion. And we're almost done. Just 2 more repetitions to go. Keep that motion slow and under control. Nice slow leg raise. Back down, stand up. 1 more repetition to go. Keep that back flat. Slow leg raise. And let it relax. Good job. Go ahead and set those dumbbells down. We're going to be moving to our next exercise. We're going to be on the ground. So if you have a mat handy, go ahead and grab that. It's going to be a reclined twist with a leg lift. So pretty much start with that dumbbell straight above your head. Drop it off to one side. Tap the ground barely. Bring it straight back up and crunch kind of forward with the torso. Lifting one leg. Bring that dumbbell down towards that foot. Back up. And then rotate off to the other side. Just keep alternating back and forth which foot you crunch towards and which side you rotate towards. So you rotate off to the left, dropping the dumbbell down to the left side, then you're going to lift your right leg when you come up next. If you drop it off to the right, then you're going to lift your left leg when you come up next. Just keep alternating back and forth, keep those arms relatively straight, make sure that back stays flat until you come up to the center and crunch forward towards that foot. Otherwise, that back should be perfectly straight the entire time. And as your last repetition right here. And let it relax. We're going to switch off to a plank to push up next. Go ahead and flip over, facing down towards that mat. Starting on those elbows, you're going to press yourself up one arm at a time to a full push-up position with a fully extended arm. Then walk right back down again. So the easiest way to do this is whatever arm you drop down to the ground last as you're coming down from that push-up is the first arm you bring right back up again to bring yourself back up to that full push-up position. So that way you're always going to be alternating which hand you're starting with. So you always have even balance between your left and your right side. And let it relax. Go ahead and switch back over onto your back. Grab that dumbbell. We've got our second round of the reclined twist plus a leg lift. So nice flat back. Start with that dumbbell straight up over top of your head. Crunch to that foot. Rotate off to the side. Back up. Crunch that opposite foot. Now remember, every single second you're doing this exercise, you want to have that back completely and perfectly flat, except for when you lift that leg and you're crunching down towards that foot. Otherwise, that back needs to be completely straight the entire time to protect it, especially as you rotate. Every single time you rotate, you want to make sure that back stays nice and straight. We're almost done. Just 2 more repetitions to go. Drop it off to the side. 1 more. Bring that leg up and let it relax. All right, let's go ahead and switch off onto our next exercise. Our last exercise was a jackknife pullover. So laying out flat on your back, we're going to do this exercise 1 arm at a time. So starting with that dumbbell in your right hand, you're going to crunch up, right hand to left foot, nice and slow back down. Let that hand just barely hover above that ground before pulling it right back up again. Now you want to focus on getting a really nice tight crunch at the top of that range of motion, as well as keeping that rib cage pressed down towards that mat, that lower back pressed down towards that mat as you're doing that pullover with that dumbbell. You're going to have a tendency to kind of arch that chest, kind of tilt it back behind you as that arm goes back behind you, just to make it a little bit easier for that motion. So try to make sure you keep that lower back on the ground to get a little bit more full range of motion. And that was our last one right there. So go ahead and drop that dumbbell off to the side. We're going to be moving on to our cardio component next, which is going to be a cross punch crunch. So leaning back about a 45-degree angle, rotating those shoulders left to right, really nice quick motion, just alternating back and forth. This is our cardio component, so move nice and quick. Try to engage all of those muscles simultaneously to get as much calorie burn as you can and to get that heart rate up as high as you can. Now just a little bit over halfway, just keep that motion going nice and quick. Just a few seconds left. Keep it going. And let it relax. Good job. Let's do our last round of that jackknife pullover. So flat on your back. Make sure you have that dumbbell in the opposite hand you did last time. And start it up. Kelly's doing it with her left hand, crunching up across to her right foot this time. So make sure you're doing the same thing, alternating sides so that hand comes to the opposite foot. Nice crunch at the top. Again, make sure that rib cage stays flat against the ground the entire time as you extend that arm back over your head. Nice, slow, controlled motion. Keep those lungs open. Just keep it under control. Keep it going. And we're almost done. 2 more repetitions. Last one. Crunch it up nice and tight. And let it relax. Good job. That was our last repetition, last exercise, which means this workout is complete. Good job. Now remember to get your cool down in and go to fitnessblender.com for hundreds more full-length workout videos.